Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. So you can't give what you don't have. So in order to grow others, we must grow ourselves first. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us help others. So tonight we have another dynamic leader with us. You know, every week I like to do a proper introduction of our guests. So let me do a proper introduction of our young special guest this evening. And it is Miss Jessie Terry. Now, Jessie is a 21-year-old who has quite a unique life. She's a martial artist. She is a personal trainer. She is an author. She is a professional speaker and a pageant girl. She enjoys everything from costume makeup to working out. Her goal in life is to share Jesus with as many people as possible. And she wants her life to make an impact. She wants to make an impact before she leaves this world. See, God has big plans for her future, and every day she strives to accomplish the next step in her journey. Now, I'm going to let you talk to Jessie and hear from Jessie in just a little bit, but I also want to tell you she is the reigning Miss Hot Springs, and she will also be competing in the Miss Arkansas USA pageant in May of 2021. So let's welcome Miss Jessie Terry to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're here with us tonight. So, audience, I want you guys to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show with Jessie. And Jessie, all I want you to do is to relax and let's have a conversation about you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Let's get at it then. So, tell the audience a little bit about your life journey so far.
Okay. Well, I grew up in public school, but due to being bullied a lot, I got pulled out of school and was homeschooled. And when my dad saw that I needed the confidence, he put me in martial arts. And from there, I've traveled the world teaching self-defense. I've been able to write a book. I'm now taking MMA classes and doing pageantry, and I've just had a really unique life.
Wow. So, martial arts allows you then to gain confidence,
Yes.
and if necessary, defend yourself, right?
Yes, sir. If it wasn't for martial arts, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Well, that's awesome. So I know that I've seen on your Facebook different competitions that you've been in with martial arts. That's awesome. So we'll get to know a little bit more about you as well. So give us an example of what are some of the big accomplishments you've achieved so far?
I was one of the youngest people ever to speak at the John Maxwell International Conference in front of 4,000 people. I've published 2 books on Amazon. I have traveled internationally, and I have just done a lot of really cool stuff that a lot of people my age don't have the opportunity to do.
Wow. Well, you know, speaking at the International Maxwell Conference, traveling internationally to speak to others. That's awesome to say that you're only 21. You've been busy.
Yes, I have.
Well, one of the projects that I know that you're working on is the Ebenezers Journal.
Yes.
So tell us about Ebenezers Journal.
Okay.
You know, why did you start it, and how can people find it or help?
Okay, so Ebenezers Journal, I was watching the way my nieces were interacting, and when I grew up, it was you play outside and you use your imagination. And now it's all technology based. So I thought, you know what, I want to create some sort of book that's going to allow kids to say, you know what, I don't need technology to have a good time. So I created Ebenezer, and it's a little monster, and he goes to a school where he's not allowed to use his imagination. So he has to bring out the gifts and talents in his friends to bring back imagination into his town and his school. And it's been great. I've got all these different characters with all the personalities, and I'm working on my 3rd book for the series.
You're working on your 3rd book, you said?
Yes, I have the Ebenezers Journal, and then I have the coloring book, and I'm working on the next series.
Wow. Well, I'm 53 and I haven't even wrote the first book yet, so you're way ahead of me. I'm gonna have to call you for some lessons. And folks, can they purchase Ebenezer's Journal?
Yes, I have a website, and it is on the link. You just go to it, and you go to About and Store, and it's right there.
Okay. All right. So they can purchase the journal itself and enjoy it. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, good. See the link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, folks. And I'll also put it in Facebook comments for you as well. So tell our audience, what are your plans for your life work? I know one of the things you said is, hey, you want to share Jesus Christ with as many people as possible. So is that your life's work?
That is a big part of it. My biggest dream is to have an international playground company that installs playgrounds for kids in 3rd world countries who have lost their childhood due to family issues, so they can have that sense of childhood again.
Wow. And so what made you decide to do that?
When I was little, God told me that I would travel the world helping kids because I've always been passionate about working with them. And when I was in Guatemala working in a youth center, I thought, you know what? I should do something like this. And that's where the idea came from.
Wow. Well,
who doesn't love playgrounds? They're so much fun.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome that you want to do that and that you came to that conclusion at a very young age. So what motivates you to get up every morning, and what motivates you to do this work?
It really has been a lot of what my parents have instilled in me. Being homeschooled and going to other countries and seeing how these people don't have opportunities, and I get up every morning and I have this freedom, and I don't want to waste my time. You're only given one life, and I want to use it for Jesus. So if that's not motivation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Well, that's awesome that you want to do that, and that's good that your parents instilled those values in you. I know that you are part of the John Maxwell team as well. And what made you decide to join the John Maxwell team?
That's a funny story. My dad told me I'm going to this conference, and I thought, I know who John Maxwell is. I read a story. Cool. And he said, well, there's a water slide. And I said, okay, I'll go with you. I want to ride this water slide. It's 90 feet tall. So I went to the conference, and I wasn't getting I was not getting my certification at the time. And so after I'd been out in the pool all day, I went downstairs to see what my dad was doing. And I heard one of the mentors speaking. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I missing out on? This is amazing. So for the next 14 hours on the way home, I told my dad, I'm going to join the team. You're going to sign me up. I'm going to do this. And he was like, okay, Jessie, shut up. You can join the team. And so from there, I joined, and then I got to speak on stage at the next conference.
Wow. So then what are you using your John Maxwell team or how are you using your experience?
For a lot of it for right now has been a lot of personal development and helping myself grow as a leader, because you can't lead others until you know how to lead yourself.
Right. Okay. All right. So what about your friends? Do you talk to them about, mindset growth and leadership development?
I do quite often. They're always asking me for advice on what I'm learning and how I'm growing. And I actually was able to tell one of my friends a couple days ago about what I was learning, and he accepted Jesus, and that was amazing.
Wow. Well, that is amazing. Well, that's awesome that you're such a young age doing these things and impacting others' lives. So, you're 21 and at that age you want to be out and about with your friends, but we're in this coronavirus crisis.
Mhm.
How has that impacted you and your generation?
Well, I had just gotten a part-time job at the time, and so just seeing how all the different people were just losing jobs and losing opportunities and just losing motivation, and when you watch how despite the turmoil, people were more together than ever. I had people reaching out, and I was just able to talk to so many people that wasn't talking to me before, because when you're trapped at home, what else are you gonna do but play on your phone or read a book? So just I've had more opportunity to reach out to people now than I was before.
Okay, awesome. So, you are one of the things we mentioned earlier is that you're Miss Hot Springs.
Yes.
So, have you been competing in pageants all your life?
No, I had done this competition once, and I had no idea what I was doing. I thought, "You know what? This will be fun." I saw someone do a pageant once, and I realized how much it's not just wearing a pretty crown, it's you have a platform, and you have to go out and change people's lives, and it's so much more than that. And when I thought, "You know what? There's people out there that I can reach with this platform." And so I thought, "You know what? I'm gonna try it again, and I'm gonna go and change people's lives."
Wow. So so then once you decided you were going to compete for this, um, when you was that your first competition?
No.
Okay. All right. So then did you have to win other competitions in order to compete for Miss Hot Springs?
This one, you get the title when you sign up. You have the title and all the other girls have their title, and from there you go to state competition, and if you win, you go on to Miss USA and then Miss Universe.
Okay. All right. And with all you have going on, how do you have time then to compete in pageants as well?
I was just adding in everything I do compounds, and I'm able to use what I'm learning towards the pageant.
Okay, all right. Well, that's awesome. So, with your martial arts, because I've seen some of your pictures and videos on Facebook competing
Mhm.
in martial arts. Are you at what level are you?
I am almost a black belt in self-defense. When you get all this completion of the certificate, you have a black belt, and then I have a purple belt in Shorin karate. And then a couple of days ago, I started training in MMA to start cage fighting.
What?
Yes,
Okay, all right. So that means that your hands are lethal weapons.
they're gonna be eventually.
Okay. Wow. So then what made you I'm just trying to understand your progression here because that is amazing. What made you decide that you want to get into MMA?
Well, okay, when I was younger, my dad did martial arts. He's the president of the Martial Arts Hall of Fame for the United States. So just watching him do that, and as a girl, girls don't really compete in the martial arts, but it's so important. And MMA is really just about being able to defend yourself. Yeah, you're getting hit in the face, and I have so many bruises that I was able to cover up with makeup before this, but it's learning how to defend yourself so you can walk down the street and have confidence. And I just really enjoyed the sport. It's a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it and doing it. So with I was talking about the coronavirus crisis and how it's impacting your generation.
Mhm.
Um, so have you found that you are disconnected, if you will, from your peers?
Well, because I've been on the John Maxwell team, most of my friends are international. So now I have more opportunities to get to talk to them, unlike before when they were so busy.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So then coronavirus has been positive for you so
Yeah,
far. Okay. Building your network. All right. Well, that's awesome. So who inspires you the most and why?
my dad.
Okay.
Because despite everything, he's been the one motivating me, and my mom too. They both were just saying, "You know what, Jessie, you can do anything you want to do." And they don't beat around the bush. They tell me what I need to hear and not what I want to hear, which a lot of people don't have that in their life. So just to have both my parents
Mhm.
with me has been a huge inspiration.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. And so you are the second youngest, I think you said, right?
Of 6, yes.
Yes. So second youngest of 6. So you have, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 3 brothers, and they're all older than me, and I have 1 older sister and 1 little sister.
Okay. All right. And then you have a host of pets.
3 dogs, 1 cat, and 1 carnivorous goldfish.
Okay. 3 dogs, 1 cat, and 1 carnivorous goldfish. And you had 2, but
He ate them. I was like, where did it go?
well, put him in a separate tank next time. So what was in school? What was your favorite subject, and why was that your favorite subject?
I was homeschooled, so my favorite subject was art. I liked the other ones, but art was the one I was able to express myself the most in.
Okay, all right.
Free and put it on paper.
Okay, and do you consider yourself an artist?
I do. I do FX makeup, and I do chalk art, and I paint, and I do some sculpting, just a number of things.
Wow, you just have a whole lot of stuff going on.
That's the benefit of being homeschooled. You have a lot of free time.
Okay, all right. So then 10 years from now, let's look forward. 10 years from now, you'll be 31.
Yes.
Right? What do you see in the life of Jessie Terry?
I will have my international playground company, and I'll have installed at least 50 playgrounds by then. I'll have 1 Miss Arkansas USA, and hopefully have 1 Miss Universe. I'll have 5 more books published, and I'll have a husky. For once, I will have a husky.
Okay. You said 5 more books?
Yes, that's my goal. Is in 10 years, I'd like to have 5 more books published.
Awesome. So you are very ambitious, and you're not just ambitious. You know, some people are ambitious, but it's all in their mind. Mm-hmm. You're ambitious, but you're actually doing all these things that you've been dreaming about. What makes you be able to take action on your dreams?
Well, when I joined the John Maxwell team, I was talking a lot more than I was doing. So I thought, I have all these plans, but I'm not putting them to work. And when I saw all these different leaders, I thought, you know what? I have the same opportunity to do this, and I need to be more consistent. So for a long time, I thought, you know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to do at least one thing. And then it just added and added until I was able to do more than one, and I was able to be consistent.
Wow. So audience, I want you to hear something what 21-year-old Jessie Terry just said. When she first joined the John Maxwell team, she was doing a lot of talking, but not necessarily doing. Mm-hmm. Where are you in your journey? Are you also doing a lot of talking and not doing? If I go down and list all the things that she is doing at the young age of 21, it's astounding. It's amazing, right? So while you're listening to Jessie tonight, I want you to take some notes, right? Because she's dropping in some subtle hints here that you should pick up. Do more than talk. Action speaks louder than words, right? If you want to do something, you just have to go out and do it. Mm-hmm. It's amazing the things that you're going to learn tonight from Miss Jessie Terry. So what's been the most rewarding achievement so far?
Being able to go to Africa and work with special needs kids. That was the most rewarding, because they are not able to help themselves and they can't give anything back to me. But to be able to give them the love. Actually, when I was in Africa working with special needs kids, they told me this one little boy would never talk, and they were just not working with them. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to work with this little boy. And after a week, he spoke. It was a God thing, for real.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what made you decide to go to Africa?
My dad has a family friend from Cameroon, Africa, and he had come to visit, and I was working with his autistic son while he was here. And when I saw the way that the little boy was interacting with me, his mom said, "This is amazing. He's never responded to anybody like this, and you're going to come to Africa." And I said, "Okay, let's do it." And on the way there, I didn't realize you have to have a visa to get into the country. So I got stuck in Belgium for 5 days, and I ended up making it to Africa, but it was a dream for sure to be able to go.
Wow. And how long were you there?
I was supposed to be there for 2.5 months, but my gallbladder failed while I was there. So I was only there for 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. So then you went there and made an impact. And have you stayed in contact with the people since you left?
I do. I talk to them as much as they're able, but the internet there isn't very good. So it's just whenever they're not busy.
Okay. Well, that is that's phenomenal. That's awesome. So, you know, in life we all have success, but our most important lessons come from difficult experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give us an example of a problem that you faced and how you overcame it, and maybe what's the lesson that you learned from it.
Okay. When I first started exercising, I thought, you know what? I can do this. This is nothing. And I could not stick with it. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to give up. But when I realized if I just take it one day at a time, instead of trying to cut out all this junk food and add in all this exercise, I'm going to add a little bit at a time. And then I was actually able to complete a 2-month workout program not too long ago and drop 4 sizes. And I thought, you know what? When you start doing what you want to do, the motivation isn't going to be there until you start. So when I saw, you know what, I can't stick with it, but if I do a little bit at a time, the motivation is going to come. So it was learning to be consistent and finding the motivation, and it's been amazing. Now I'm obsessed with exercise.
Okay. All right. Well, I might have to call you to come over here and get me motivated about exercising, because I'm definitely not, motivated about doing that all the time. But that's awesome. So you said, hey, at first I wasn't keeping up with it. And then I said, let me break this down and do a little bit at a time and cut out a little bit of the junk food at a time versus just going cold turkey.
Yes.
And that thought process is advanced. Most people your age are not thinking that way, right? Especially with all the things that you have going on. So do you consider yourself to be like this intellectual, or how did you get such wisdom at such a young age?
It had to be God, or my dad telling me that if I don't get it right, then there's going to be problems. So either fear or God.
Fear or God? Okay, one of the two. That's probably a combination of those, right? That's awesome. So let's move into talking about impacting others. Do you have a mentor?
My parents have been the biggest mentor for me.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, the other question I have around this is, who are you mentoring?
A couple of my friends and then my little nieces. They follow everything I do. They want to do everything I do. And when I realized that, I thought, you know, what I'm doing, they're going to want to do. So I had to really change the way I was going after things, because leaders are being followed and you have to be aware of that.
Yes. And you're setting the example for them, whether you believe it or not, all right? Or whether you know it.
Because they didn't understand the online school and having to be home. And I ended up taking care of them because their mom works full time. So I was homeschooling them, and I thought my attitude is going to affect how they do their school.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge for sure.
Well, that's awesome that you noticed that, and awesome that you noticed, hey, I'm making an impact on them, so I better have the right attitude.
Yes.
Because if not,
with everything.
Yeah. We know that people do what people see, correct? But it's awesome that you're mentoring those young kids. So let's do this. What I want to do is what I call a segment. I call it "Would You Rather."
Okay.
All right.
I
So
love it.
you love that? All right. Perfect. Would you rather have free Apple products forever or have free Wi-Fi wherever you go?
Free Wi-Fi wherever I go.
Free Wi-Fi. Okay. All right. Would you rather fulfill your biggest wish or resolve your biggest regret?
Fulfill my biggest wish.
Okay. All right. Would you rather be able to, oh, yes, I'm going to do this one. Would you rather be best friends forever with your favorite celebrity or date your celebrity crush for only 2 years?
Be best friends.
Be best friends. All right. One more. I was going to ask you, I'm going to tell you this one, but I probably know what you're going to say. Be a ninja or be a pirate?
Oh, that's hard. Because when I was 10, I thought I was a pirate, but I would be a ninja.
I figured you would say be a ninja. But all right. So now this is the last one. Would you rather pick the year that you die or pick the way that you die?
Pick the way that I die.
Pick the way. I wonder why nobody wants to know the year.
Well, I don't know.
You'll be worried then
Yeah.
getting close to that year, right? Okay. So if you could list 2 or 3 things that adults could help your generation with, what would that be?
One big one is actually listening, because I know that millennials can be very trying at times, but if you actually step back and you listen and you understand what they're going through, that would help significantly.
Okay. All right. Listen. And what else?
Help them accomplish their goals. Because if it weren't for some of the John Maxwell team members pushing me and helping me get to where I wanted to be, I don't know where I would have found the motivation.
Okay. So listen and help them accomplish their goals. So Jessie, just for the audience, Jessie is a part of the Generation Z. And what she's saying is, adults, here's how you can help the Gen Zers. Listen to them. They want to be heard. And if you remember last night, audience, I had another Gen Zer on, and one of her things for this question was listen. And she said, because they want to be heard, don't dismiss their ideas and put yourself in their shoes.
That's a good one.
And Jessie is saying the same thing. Listen and then help them accomplish their goals.
Yes. Even if you don't agree with them, just having someone to listen to you and understand, and even you don't even have to say anything, just simply listening to someone could make a difference.
Awesome. So when you hear people say that, Gen Zers, and they'll put Gen Zers in with millennials as well, and they'll say they are lazy, not motivated. What would you say to them?
I would say, well, why do you say that? I would ask them their reason. I would say just because they don't do the things the way you do doesn't make them lazy. Because a lot of the times they'll say they're lazy because they're on their phone all the time. But a lot of people work off their phone. So just being able to say, you know what, because you find them lazy means you're not stopping to really listen to them and understand what they're going through. And maybe they're lazy because they're not having anybody say, you know what, you're better than this. You have all these dreams and goals and you can do it. Because sometimes with younger people, they don't do it because they don't believe that they can. And when someone steps back and says, you know what, you can do anything you set your mind to, it changes everything.
Wow. I like what you just said. Hopefully the audience is listening to that. Hopefully some parent is listening to what you just said, and then they interact with their child.
Because your tongue is a weapon. When you call your kid lazy all the time, or you call your friend lazy all the time, they're going to be lazy because that's all they ever knew.
Right. You're speaking it really into existence for them.
Exactly.
Yes. Awesome. So when you're just like sitting at home, just chilling out, relaxing, there's no MMA on, there's no pageant that's going on, and you decide that I'm gonna eat a dessert. You know what? I'm not even exercising today. I'm just gonna chill out. I'm gonna eat a dessert. What does that dessert look like?
I make a 3-layer cheesecake with chocolate mousse and then white chocolate cheesecake and then cheesecake on top. And then I make cookie dough on top of it. It's really complicated, but it's delicious, and it gained like 500 pounds.
Wow. 500 pounds. You're going to gain a lot of weight eating that cheesecake.
It's very rich.
It's very rich. Okay. It sounds like it.
Yes.
But it sounds good. So sports, are you into football, basketball?
No, I'm terrified of soccer.
You're terrified?
I am. I went to an indoor soccer game and a professional soccer player accidentally hit me in the head with a soccer ball and gave me a concussion. So.
Okay.
But we're best friends now, so it's
good. Okay.
I do a lot of running and physical fitness, but I don't play any sports.
Okay. All right. But it's interesting that you're afraid of soccer now.
But I'm not afraid to get hit in the face. So.
You're afraid to get it. But MMA.
I know that doesn't bother me, but if I see a soccer ball,
if you see a fist, you're like, okay, that's all right.
Let's bring it on. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. I like that. That's a different approach, a different take. So when you're in high school, what did you learn in high school that you believe will help you impact the world?
That's a great question. Being homeschooled and being away from the crowd really made me set apart, because I had the word of God I could listen to, and I had all these different things and outlets, and being able to travel with my dad on the weekend, I had a bigger approach of the world. I'm not stuck in a 9-to-5. I have such an amazing opportunity. And from there, I thought, you know what? If I can accomplish all this being busy in high school, I can go out and change the world.
Wow. That's awesome. I love the way that you take lessons and reflect on it, and then use it to propel you to the next thing.
I try to.
Wow. That's awesome. That is not something that everyone doesn't have that skill. And it sounds like you developed that skill very well.
I have to give my dad credit, or I'm never going to hear the end of it. Thanks, Dad.
Well, everybody along the way, the law of significance says 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness, right? Mm-hmm. But always remember that you work as a team.
Oh, yeah.
But no matter how good of a team you have around you, if you don't have the oomph and the attitude to do it, then it's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Right. So a lot of the credit is to you as well. Awesome. So give us 2 or 3 qualities that set you apart from the crowd.
I'm extremely determined. When I say I'm going to do something, I go out and I stick with it as best as possible. And I'm a deep thinker. So instead of just listening to something, I take it and I really process it. Sometimes I think too much, and that's why I don't watch movies, because then I start imagining myself as a robot, and it's just not good. And I think the other thing would be I'm confident in who I am in Christ. So I can actually go into a room and say, you know what other people say about me doesn't matter, because I know what God says about me, which has been a definite big thing for me, because when I was younger, I was insecure because I was bullied. And so growing up in martial arts and saying, you know what, I have confidence to get up and perform and practice on my own, and what other people say really doesn't matter.
Awesome. Well, that's good. So tell me a little bit more about this robot.
Oh, okay. So my mom and I watched this movie called I Am Mother or something like that. And there were these robots that took over the world. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if I was a robot? And I didn't sleep at all. It was bad.
And so then you just imagine yourself as a
As a
robot.
robot taking over my family. And I said, Mom, I can't watch movies with you anymore because I'm getting some crazy ideas.
So what does this robot look like?
It was a squarish robot with one eye. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Okay, all right. So it's a squarish robot with one eye. And what special powers did the robot have?
It makes children and then it takes over the world.
It reproduces children and takes over the world.
You'd have to watch it. It's complicated and it makes you think.
Okay, and what's the name of the movie so the audience can watch it?
I Am Mother.
I Am Mother. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put that in the comments so people can.
It's on Netflix. It's a great movie.
All right. So I put that in the comments for people to see that and dream of being a robot.
It was a weird dream.
Did the robot have a name?
I don't remember. I think it was called Mother.
Okay.
The robot raising a little girl.
Okay. All right. And then takes over the world. So if there was one thing only that you could change about yourself, what would that be?
I really like myself, but if I could change something like physically or
Yeah, it could be physically, could be internally, mindset, it could be anything.
I have to think about that for a second. That's a difficult question.
That's why I ask it.
If it was physically, it would be my eyesight because I'm as blind as a bat without contacts.
Okay. All right.
That would be for sure. I would have more confidence because I'm confident now, but just more confident in the way I approach people and talk to people. Just not having any doubt in myself.
Okay. All right. So when you see new people, is it hard for you to talk to them at first or go up to introduce?
When I was younger, yes, it was always a battle of fighting my shyness. But then when I had the opportunity to speak in front of 3,000 people and do all these different things, it's not about me. That's the mindset I had to have, is to stop thinking, you know what, I'm scared, but it's not for me. It's to impact God. So if I just imagine I'm talking to God, then these are just more lives that I want to see go to heaven.
Okay. Awesome. So, I want to make sure that I don't skip over this because you said it several times and I read it in your bio as well. God is in your life. And what makes you so strong in your belief?
The way God has really changed my life. There's been a lot of experiences that I had that I could have died or just different things. And to see the way God has impacted my life and impacted the people around me. He saved my dad from cancer. He saved me when I went to Africa and I got so sick. And just every single day I see him in my life and the people around me.
Okay. All right. And if someone came to you, a young person at your age, a Gen Zer came to you and said, I'm struggling and I don't know that I believe in Jesus Christ. What would you say to them?
I would ask them why they believe that. And I would say, okay, I want you to look around. I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this can't happen by chance. You were created with a purpose and for a purpose. And the only way that could happen is God. And then I would tell them all the ways that God's impacted my life. And I wouldn't push it on them because nobody wants Christianity pushed down their throat. But I would just listen to their past and see what had happened with them and just tell them and express the love that I have for God to them.
Awesome. So, I asked you that question for a reason. So I'm an ordained minister, by the way, but I asked you that question for a reason. Because I want you to do is I want you to, Jessie, to look right in the camera, and I
Mhm.
want you to talk to, it's a 20-year-old young lady that suffers from self-esteem issues. She doesn't think she's pretty. She doesn't
Mhm.
value herself. She doesn't see value in herself. And I want you to talk to that young
Okay. I don't know who you are or what you're struggling with, but I myself have dealt with self-esteem issues, and it's a terrible thing to look in the mirror and not see any value. But I want you to know that you matter. Your life matters. God doesn't create anything that's not perfect. You were created in the image of God, and you're beautiful and you're wonderful. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because it is so easy to fall into the trap of comparison and I'm not good enough, but you are. And God has such an amazing plan for you. And when you look in the mirror, I want you to tell yourself every time you look in the mirror, you know what? I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful because God says I am. And don't quit until you believe it. And when you believe it, start telling other people. And even when you look in the mirror and it hurts and you say, you know what? I'm broken. God fixes broken. He turns broken into beautiful. And that's what you are.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that you've just helped someone
I hope so.
out there. I'm telling you, you have, as I know. So thank you for taking the time to do that. So what advice would you give to other Gen Zers, and even let's take it to the younger generation of the Gen Zers? Right now, Gen Zers are between the age of 8 and 24.
Okay.
Okay. So what advice would you give those teenagers out there, um, whether they're in school or whether
Mhm.
that's just advice about being the leader of their life and living their dream?
Your attitude is everything. If you don't have a good attitude and you don't accomplish something, you're just going to live saying, you know what, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And you're going to keep thinking that. Your attitude gets you where you want to go. When I do a competition and I don't win, I win when I have a good attitude because I can take what I learned and I can grow from it. But if you're looking at it and you say, you know what, I failed, you have to fail forward. John Maxwell says, we take our what we learned and we keep growing. So your attitude determines everything you do.
Yes, your attitude determines your altitude.
You have to rule your emotions or your emotions will rule you. That's what my mom tells me.
Yes. Well, your mom's a smart lady. I
Yeah,
like
she's a very smart lady.
that. And you're not saying that your dad's not smart, right?
He'll do.
So, how important is education?
It's very important. And
Okay.
not even just being in school. You learn every single day. It's you don't have to be in school to learn. You can be reading. You have to grow to be able to go to the next level. But if you're not taking the time and you're just playing on Instagram or you're playing on your phone, you're growing, but you're growing the wrong way. You don't want to conform to the world. You want to be set apart. But when you're scrolling through TikTok and you go, well, I can't dance like her, or I'm not as pretty as her, or he has better hair than me, you're growing in a sense of you're just going to live your life checking off a box and saying, well, if I had this, this, and this, I would be okay. And I would be like everybody else. And you can't live like that.
Absolutely. So, how can people get in contact with you?
I have Facebook, I have LinkedIn, and I have my John Maxwell team page, which got all my information on it. Except my social, I'm not giving that out. I had a telemarketer ask for that, and I'm like, well, you give me yours first. And he cussed me out and hung up.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a smart thing that you did then. Yes, and the link to stay in contact with Jessie is right here on the bottom of the screen. You'll see her website as well as her Ebenezers Journal.
Yeah.
link so that you can purchase that. So tell us again, just for people who are tuning in late, Ebenezers Journal, why should they purchase that?
It'll change your kid's life. It'll teach them how to have imagination and bring it back into their life. And there's some really cute pictures to color. I also have a Facebook page. If you go to Ebenezers Journal and you just type in that on Facebook, I'm always posting, and I'm about to be doing a giveaway, so be on the lookout for that. I'm giving away some really cool stuff.
Awesome. Look at that. You're going to get some no charge items if you go to ebenezersjournal.com.
Yes.
All right. So here's my last question for you. If there was a book that was written about you, what would the name be? That's the first question. So I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. How consistency changes everything.
How consistency changes everything. Wow. Okay, I like that. I'm just writing it down. Changes everything. All right. And then in the summary of the book, what would the summary say about Jessie Terry?
Think of this for just a second.
Sure.
Okay. When you're consistent in life, you find your greatness and you will make an impact. Consistency is everything.
When you're consistent in life,
you'll find greatness.
You'll find greatness.
Consistency is everything.
Consistency is everything. Now, folks, if that doesn't motivate you, if that doesn't inspire you about our young people in this world today, I don't know what else.
You're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank you, first of all, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for letting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is designed to help introduce the audience to new people and different people. And we talk to young people in your age group, the Gen Zers, all the way up to the traditionalists, the old folks. All right. And so I want to thank you for coming on. Now, folks, in just a few minutes, let's see here, in another 13 minutes, we will be live on the Empowered Living channel. At 6:30 Central Time, we go live with the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. Tonight's show is going to demonstrate to you what happens when you join the boot camp. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, if you are this entrepreneur that's afraid of sales, you say, I don't know how to sell. I wish I knew how to sell. Well, you know what? In our boot camp, we teach you how to sell. Tonight, you're going to see two of our graduates go through a sales simulation. Well, we've taught them how to sell. Now they're going to show you what that simulation process looked like that they went through. All right. So if you want to see behind the curtain in the Black Entrepreneurs Institute sales simulation, check that out at 6:30. Now, I want you to make sure that you understand Black Entrepreneur Institute doesn't mean just for Black people. Black Entrepreneurs Institute is for any entrepreneur. We are all inclusive. Our job, our main focus is to help elevate your mind and help you elevate your money with your business. So tune in at 6:30 Central Time here on the Empowered Living channel. You'll be able to see that. Come back here to Facebook at 7:30 and listen to Talk with TK. And Talk with TK, other millennials and Gen Zers elevate their mind, talking about mindset. So she has the Mindset 180 Academy. So you need to come and check that out. Then on Thursday, I have Talk Leadership on the radio every Thursday, 4:00 Central Time on ibgr.network. So I want you to tune in to that. On tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, 11 Central Time, I will be interviewed on the Empowered Living channel. So check that out. And then Monday, we will kick off our executive month. And for the month of October, we will be interviewing executives. So come tune in for that on Talk Leadership with Cedrick throughout the month of October. Paul Martinelli is going to be the first guest on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Come and hear the interview that I did with Paul Martinelli. He drops in a lot of information. If you want to really get to know Paul Martinelli, then you need to tune in Monday night at 6:30 on Talk Leadership with Cedrick. It's an awesome, awesome interview. So, folks, I'm going to leave you here tonight with the same thing I leave you with every night. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Don't be on the menu. We'll see you again later on. Have a good evening.